Welcome to episode 27 of the Fun Dad, Dean and Wife Unfiltered podcast. I am Dean.
And I am Sarah. So I wanted to start the podcast this week with something that happened in our house this week to do with our eldest. And again, it got me thinking. So basically, our eldest is now in year 5, so she's 10. And there's starting to be some vocabulary batted around, you know, in the playground and with her peers and stuff, that maybe she doesn't know the meaning of. And, you know, you're in that group, aren't you? You're in the playground and somebody said something and you think, oh, I don't know what that means. You don't want to come across.
Yeah, she's getting very curious about naughty words now, getting to that age.
Well, not necessarily naughty
Not
words,
naughty
just
words,
words that
yeah.
are coming up. Maybe somebody else has had exposure to it and maybe she hasn't and she doesn't know what it means, so she's coming home. So anyway, she came home the other day and she asked me for my phone. And I was like, kind of, but why? She's like, I just want to Google something. And I was like, what? And like, she just wanted to Google like something that one of the kids had said in school and she didn't know what it meant. And I suddenly thought, do you know what? That word's a bit rude. But I thought when I was at school, do you remember being at school in the classroom and you would get a dictionary? And then what would you do?
You'd look up like penis and it would say like, I can't remember the definition for it. But under mine it would say like anaconda, wouldn't it?
Oh,
You know?
Jesus Christ.
But I remember looking at the dictionary and you'd be like, you'd look for penis, vagina. You remember like giggling, wouldn't you, with your mates? Like thinking it was like the funniest thing in the world, wouldn't you?
Exactly. But I suddenly thought,
Bring back
she
those
asked
days.
me, and basically she wanted to go on my phone and Google it. And I was thinking, God, you can't Google it. Imagine the images that might come up. So I thought to myself, hold on a minute. So had we have given her exposure to a phone or a tablet or whatever on a school day and she was allowed it in her room or maybe even after school, like, what if your child is walking around with this, like, if you just think, like, when we was at school, we would have looked it up in the dictionary, or we're even that old. Maybe you went home and put in the CD-ROM and looked it up on the encyclopedia. But these children have got these little
And they're so curious. So any word they hear that they don't know, like, I don't know, like a sexual word or whatever, they'll type it into Google and you don't know what the fuck's coming up. You said this to me the other day and I was like, yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Didn't even think
about
so
that.
Her initial way to look up the meaning of a word, because apparently in school they like use the Chromebooks and stuff, but obviously she's not going to look up like Chromebooks and stuff. So say I don't know, I'm really hoping this doesn't happen because she's so young, but say she wants to look up like blowjob or something, or she says, oh mummy, someone was talking about blowjob today, what's that? You know, I said to her, and I was so happy when she came home the other day and was like to me, Mummy, what does this word mean? And I was like, I would much rather you always come to me and we can have that open discussion and, you know, talk about the word together or whatever, if you've heard it, rather than going solitary in your room or to yourself and Googling it, because the images that could come up
or even
with these
at
words
school,
they're curious
if
about.
if you hear it at school and you've got your phone there at school, you'd be quite tempted to like Google it there. And I can imagine, especially for boys, it's quite dangerous because you know all these images come up and they're like, oh, you know, get more curious and then.
Well, that's just like the gateway to opening them to porn, really, isn't it?
That's what's I think a lot of it that must be what's happening. They're getting more access to it much earlier. Whereas we had a dictionary, like you're fucking, yeah. But yeah, no, it's definitely something to keep in mind, isn't it? Well,
it's something I hadn't thought about, and now I can't stop thinking about. But again, I was a bit like, oh no, it's just another reason.
It just goes down this journey of us trying to be much more, you know, strict, I suppose, more mindful with screens and phones and all that kind of journey for us, isn't it? So that's just another reason thinking she ain't having
bit of reflection, yeah.
She ain't having it.
Maybe if your child does have a phone, give a look at their search history and let us know if you're shocked by anything.
You know, that would be grim, wouldn't it?
Well, I don't want to look at your search history, quite frankly. You're an adult though, so whatever. Anyway, moving swiftly on. I know that the snow has now passed for like most of the country.
Thank fuck.
Oh, I love the snow. Don't be such a bore. I literally love it.
Snow is the most overrated thing ever to grace planet Earth.
Anyway, I love the snow. I love taking the kids out in the snow. It's magical, isn't it? But anyway, we had some recent snow. So we decided to take the kids out on a Saturday lunchtime. We went out, didn't we? And, you know, they were like making snowmen and throwing snowballs and stuff like that. And it was really cute and fun. But
cute and fun. You said it was the worst afternoon you've ever had.
No, that That was taking them in the pub and then it taking 45 minutes for you to get a starter and we were just all sitting there absolutely boiling in our snowwear. Not that bit. I like taking the kids out in the snow. But basically, Ruby kept eating the snow. Do you remember?
Yeah, of course I did. Because
Like-
you kept saying, do not, you kept saying to her, do not eat, it will make you sick. And I remember thinking to myself, oh, Sarah, come on, I ain't going to make her. I did think to myself, just let her, just sort of, she's a kid, just let her experiment with it. And you kept going, stop eating it. And she literally was just eating it.
I was going to her, it'll give you a bad belly. And there was even like ice, right? Like, you know, cracked puddles and stuff. If you stand on it and then you get some ice. And they were smashing the ice on the floor. And I was like, that's fine. Then they started licking it. And I was like, stop licking the ice. It's disgusting. Like, that is dirt. It's going to make you ill. Anyway, left it. Carried on. Then we all went to my mum's, didn't we? And there was about 11 of us all at my mum's in the dining room having dinner together. And obviously it was freezing outside, so we had the heating on. We're all in this enclosed space. We get home. Put Ruby to bed.
She started, before bedtime, she started going to me, Daddy, my belly hurts. I thought it was just your mum's cooking, to be honest, but so I didn't think much of it. But she kept going, my belly hurts. And I've been thinking, at that time it was late, and I was like, Ruby, just go to sleep, you'll feel better in the morning.
That is interesting that you've said that, because do you know what? If one of the kids said to me before bedtime, because it's not typical, my belly's hurting, I'd be putting a bowl next to their bed. I'd be putting a towel down. I'd be putting something in place so that didn't happen.
I just thought it was another like delay tactic, because every time they go to bed, there's a problem. So it's like, I just thought it was that. And then when they woke up, she woke up with sick all over the bed. I thought, oh
it
shit.
was so bad. She was like violently sick in her bed. I won't go into too much detail, but it was basically one of those where, you know, you fold the sheets over and they go straight in the bin outside. I was not dealing with that. And it was only about 9:15, so luckily it wasn't too late. But basically, it wasn't just not. She was sick every 45 minutes to an hour all night. Like, it was. Oh, bless her. It was so bad.
You didn't get any sleep, did you? I mean,
I didn't get any sleep.
Because I slept in the bed that she was just sick in, because I was like.
Yeah, but I cleaned it.
No, you cleaned it, yeah, but still, I was still lying there thinking, if she's got a bug, I'm definitely getting it here. And I thought you were going to get it as well, because obviously you were lying with her all night.
Oh my God, yeah.
So I just assumed, at that point in time, I thought, didn't think it was a snow.
No.
I just thought it's going to be a bug sweeping through the house, and we're going to get it any minute. But, yeah, it didn't happen like that.
No, but I immediately, you know, was super paranoid, and you know what you do when they're sick. You had all the windows open. We slept with the window open and the heating on, washed all the sheets, washed all the towels, and I got the Dettol spray out, and I'm like spraying everything. So I was like, oh my God, I really don't want this to be a bug. But surely, if that was a bug, one of the 11 people at my mum's house would have got it.
Yeah, it wasn't.
And also, they had a double play date the day before. So
was
it a coincidence or was it the snow?
It also wasn't, because the next day she next day she didn't go to school. Was that the Sunday? No,
Sunday?
The Sunday she was a bit ropey. She had a temperature and stuff, but it passed quite quickly after that, didn't it? I felt like if it was a bug, it might have lingered a bit, and we definitely would have got it. One of us definitely would have.
I know.
Because I get everything they get, pretty much.
But, so, Dean obviously, like he said, so Ruby's got a double bed, so we changed all the sheets and stuff, and then you went and slept in Ruby's bed, and then I stayed in my room with her. And I am not joking, when my kids are sick, and what I mean by that is like vomit sick, when they're vomiting, I don't get any sleep. I have this massive paranoia that they're going to, like, you know, I don't know, choke in their sleep. I don't know, on their sick or whatever. I just have this paranoia. So I don't sleep. And do you know what? You're lying there. And she was so delirious and so tired and just so sick. And by the end of it, she was literally just waking up and just retching into the bowl. Like, you know the bowl that then, like, 2 days later you've cleaned and you're making pancakes with in the kitchen.
I made pancakes out of that this morning.
Bleached it many times.
Pancakes with chunky...
Stop it! Anyway.
Divine.
But it's like I lie there and I'm there with the bowl before she even knows she's going to be sick. Do you know what I mean?
You
I
do
can
make
tell
a
by
bit
the
of a
body
hoorah
language.
about it. Like whenever the kids are a bit,
You don't have to clear it up, do you?
I know, but I'm a bit like, all right, chill, man. Like I am a bit like, yeah, they like every kid is. We all are at some point in time. I mean, if it was ongoing, I'd be like, fucking something's wrong here. But like the odd night, I'm like, it's fine. Like,
Yeah, but I just don't want to have to go through the, changing the sheets again and all that. So I want to make sure that it doesn't go everywhere.
but you were going, because I was downstairs, wasn't I? And you were like, Dad, come up here. And
I needed help.
And I thought to myself, fucking hell, what's happened up here? And it was quite bad, but it was still like, all right, we need to chill in these situations a bit
No, I was
more.
just as in like, bring me a bowl, bring me something, because she was just being sick into the sheets. And I was like, oh God, it's disgusting. Anyway, too much information. But what it made me think was, obviously that lesson, we have kind of deduced that it was the snow. But are there any instances where your kid has basically had to learn the hard way? We told her multiple times, do not eat that ice and snow. It will give you a bad belly. It will make you sick. She didn't listen. And then even in amongst when she was being sick on that Saturday night, she was going to me, I'll never eat the snow again, Mummy. I'll never eat it again. And I thought, yeah, well, good. At least something's good's come out of this. You won't be disgusting anymore and you'll actually listen to me.
Yeah, I believe in that fully. I think kids need to learn on their own. You overly do everything for them, they don't end up learning. Like, I've often said that to you about stuff like with coats and stuff. If they go to school without a coat, I'm like, just let them. If it's -3 out there and they don't want to wear a coat, let them go, and then they'll learn that one day.
-3 is a bit of an
Whatever,
exaggeration.
but sometimes it's like coat weather,
Yeah.
and they kick off and they're like, don't want to wear a coat. I feel like saying, go on in, just go there without a coat,
Be
and you
cold.
will soon learn when it comes to lunchtime. You'll be like, I don't like it out here. Everyone's playing with a coat on. They will soon learn. All that stress of like trying to get them into a coat, just let them learn, and then there won't be any stress. They'll go and grab the coat themselves because they've learned.
So I actually had this the other week. So you were working and I went for a walk with my family, with the kids. I don't know where you were actually. I don't know where you were. Anyway, wherever you were.
I'm normally always there.
Yeah, you weren't
Dad
there.
of the year.
Brilliant. So we went on a walk with my family and I said to the girls, like, put your wellies on or put this on, like it's going to be cold. And Daisy wanted to wear her trainers or whatever. And I said, oh, can you just wear your wellies? Like, it's going to be muddy, it's wet, it's cold. Can you just wear them? No. Anyway, so then we go on our walk. It's really icy, it's really cold. And she's standing on icy puddles. Long story short, her trainers are soaking, her socks are soaking. And they must have been absolutely freezing. And I said to her, oh, well,
see, that's one thing.
That's
one thing I slightly disagreed with you. What you did though, because you then took her home.
No, I didn't.
No, you ran home.
I ran home.
Yeah, no, even worse. So you ran home, put yourself majorly out for an error that she had made. If that was me, I would have been almost like, you decided to wear them. You decided to step in that. Now you pay some consequences for doing that, and your feet should be freezing for the next hour. And trust me, you will not do that. No, look, this isn't hard. Like, they have got to learn to agree. You literally ran home. Oh, sorry, your feet.
No,
but there's an error you made that we told you not to do.
I do agree, and she was cold.
Keep pointing down there.
For majority of the walk, she was cold.
Yeah.
But also, at what point do I just... I feel like the way you just described it then makes me go like, oh, like that's not modelling very much empathy or understanding
All right,
or
not
kindness.
freezing.
So you've got to get the...
Yeah, no,
hold on. You've got to get the balance right there in these scenarios of just being like a dictator and mean in the way you would just point your finger at the kids like that.
Not a dictator, but if you've warned them before to say, look, this is welly weather. This is welly weather. Don't step in the puddle, and then they go and do the complete opposite. I feel like obviously don't let them freeze stuff and get a cold and all this. But there has to be some consequence after that.
But I think she'd already had the consequence. Like we went on like a 7K walk, and for a good 3-4 kilometres of it, her feet were wet and cold.
Well, okay.
Then,
the way you described it, she went in and you literally ran home.
No, and then it wasn't until we stopped and we sat down after we'd done about 5-6K. We sat down, that's K kilometres, like we'd done that, and then we sat down and we were going to have a little coffee and a hot chocolate in the local pub, but they didn't have it. I mean, what pub doesn't have coffee and hot chocolate? But anyway, but it was dry Jan, so we were like, oh no, we don't want to have a drink, so we're just like, let's go home. But in the time that we'd sat down at the pub, she'd taken her shoes and socks off, and honestly, Dean, if you'd have felt them, they were like soaking wet and her feet were like icicles. She'd already had that
All right,
experience.
fair enough. Yeah, okay, well, the experience I got is that she didn't have... they do need to learn something like that. I feel
Yeah,
like
she has learned
yeah.
because she did most of the work, and she didn't moan at me because she knew if she'd have moaned at me, what I'd have said.
Exactly.
But I just couldn't let her do the last part of it.
Yeah. So next time when it's a day like that, and we say, look, remember, it'll be a lot easier if you. Yeah, I just feel like sometimes they have. Obviously, the consequences can't be too bad, but being cold for a little bit of time isn't a terrible consequence.
No, and I think there's loads of things like that where they have to learn the hard way. For example, I'm a massive believer of, I think if homework is set by a school, then the child should be able to access that homework independently, and it shouldn't be the job of the parent at home being like, oh God, they need to make a pyramid out of paper mache. You'd have to get involved in that. I think anything that is set by the school as homework, the child should do independently. What do
you think about like us like reminding her? Because sometimes just a little cue in the evening will say, "Look, Daisy, it's 6 o'clock homework time," and then they do or they don't. If they do or they don't do it, that's their decision. If they don't do it and they go to school, get in trouble or whatever.
I think particularly as they get older. She knows when her homework is due, and I'll maybe give a reminder. And if she hasn't taken that, and then she's panicking at 8 o'clock on a Thursday morning because she hadn't done her homework, well, I reminded you, and you had the opportunity to do your homework, and you didn't take it. You need to be responsible yourself, and face the consequences. That's not a consequence that I'm particularly worried about, but she's not going to get ill from. It's just do your homework next time, Daisy. It needs to be done.
What about if they just don't care? So what about if they go to school, they get 1 out of 10 on their spellings, which Daisy would come back and really care about that. So she would be like, oh, I can't have to do that again. And that would make her try and learn the next time. What if kids come back and get 1 out of 10 and they literally don't give a shit, they get 1 out of 10, so they just never do the homework? What would you think about that? Because that's a trickier one, isn't it? With us, it kind of works because...
I mean, we haven't had this experience that much with our second. No. Because, to be honest with you, our second doesn't really care. I can see why you asked the question, because I'm already using my crystal ball to look into the future, and I'm thinking the second one doesn't really care.
I saw an interesting reel the other day where the guy said that they don't actually give a shit about their kids' homework. They don't care about them doing it. They don't think it has any relevance on their life. And I sort of looked in the comments, and so many parents felt the same. They only make them do it so they don't get in trouble at school.
I think there are certain homeworks that are set by schools that do have a real big impact. For example, I think reading. I do think children should be encouraged to read.
Yeah.
And you've got to try and foster that love of reading. But you need to get the balance right, because going to a child, read your book, you need to read your book, you've got to read 20 pages because your teacher says you have to, that isn't going to instill a love of reading.
No.
However, finding the right kind of text, the right genre, the right author, doing it, maybe reading with your child will. For example, our eldest was very much, she was into like Jacqueline Wilson, and at one point Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I hate the Diary of a Wimpy Kid books. But anyway, or like Tom Gates and stuff like that. And I was a bit, you need to broaden your horizons a little bit here. So I got her some more books, but in order to get her to read those, because it didn't necessarily look attractive to her, we started reading the first kind of chapter together, and I'd read a bit and she'd read a bit, and we'd talk about it,
into the book.
Get some momentum, get into it, and now she is into it and she is reading the book. So I don't know, I think it's about getting the balance right with homework and not forcing them.
Also the time of day as well. So like I read with Ruby last night, the cat book. I mean, it's about 12 pages long. It seems to take about half an hour. But she's tired. It's 7 o'clock, it's 7:15, she's been at school all day, she's knackered, she's ready to go to sleep. And then we're like, oh yeah, read this book that's going to take her a lot of mental energy. I mean, there's that as well. I mean, if she'd read that same cat book first thing in the morning, or like after being awake for half hour, I think it would have been a whole different experience for them. Like homework, you know what I'm trying to say? I think that's another challenge as well, because the time, they're just tired.
It's just time, all the bloody time. Like, maybe I need to be one of those mums that wakes up at like 5 o'clock in the morning and does their workout and gets themselves ready and for the day and does everything before their kids wake up. But unfortunately, I suffer really bad with sleeping. I'm a bit of an insomniac, so every extra minute that I can sleep, I will.
Yeah. I mean, there's another pocket money as well, because we've just started entering that phase. We've never really done pocket money, have we? I've always been a bit of a light touch. So if the kids say, oh, they want something and it's not ridiculous, say Amazon, like a 10 or 20 quid here and there, I'm like, yeah, don't tell mummy. I'll
Yeah, they
order
don't
it
even
for you.
ask me. Because the answer is like,
it is
that
bad.
is terrible.
It is bad. I mean, I'm a weak touch for that. I'm thinking, oh, it's only 20 quid. I know, but they just build up and up and up. But now I've started to be like, Daisy's getting to the age now, it's like, no, you need to understand money. She understands it now.
Yeah.
So it's like...
I don't think she understands it. I think she's at the emergent stage of understanding it.
Okay, quite kind of... But she's done a little job for me out in the garden last Saturday. It's like clean the...
mud kitchen.
The mud kitchen, because it was an absolute mess. And I gave her a £5 for doing that. And she like adds it all up, and then she's like, there's something she wanted to buy for 22 quid. And she saved up for it. She's bought that now, although it was £24.50 with postage. I didn't tell her that, so she owes me £2.50. But yeah, that's learning the hard way as well. Like that's your money now. You got to earn this money.
I don't think that's learning the hard way.
Okay.
I think what you've just explained
is normal.
is the norm. Is what you should be doing. You know, but I think learning the hard way is actually, you know, giving them X amount of pocket money. And they have to budget and learn. And then when something comes up, like, I don't know, their friends are going to the cinema, or everyone in school has got this certain, oh, she's obsessed with Nike socks sometimes. I'm like, bloody Nike socks. I was like, why don't you just have them from Asda? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But again, I think if, you know, I'm quite happy to buy you new socks. I'll go to Asda and I'll buy you a pair, you know, 5 pairs for £5. That's fine. But when you're turning around and saying to me, you want 3 pairs of socks for £17, no, you need to put a little bit of effort in to achieve these, actually. I'm not just going to go willy-nilly down into Epsom and buy you 3 pairs of socks for £17. Are you having a laugh? I wouldn't do that for myself.
Yeah, because when I was a kid, my parents were a bit like me. Like, if I wanted something, they wasn't wealthy or anything like that. But if I wanted something little, I would normally get it, and I was quite spoiled. I went on boys' holidays I couldn't afford. A bit like that, you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas you were brought up, if you didn't have the money, you didn't go. And who's better at money out of me and you?
Me.
You're much better with money. And
that's what I mean. I think the hard way around that is, so you've saved up, maybe you get, I don't really know what the going rate for pocket money is these days, but I used to get £20 a week, and that would be for anything. And that's what I got. And I used to have to budget and think, you know, and then if I knew that people were thinking about maybe going to Thorpe Park at the weekend, I'd have to go home and look and think, do I have enough money?
That's a really good life skill.
And then, but learn, and then, like, you know, you start to think to yourself, you know, maybe there was an experience where, oh, God, they've all gone off to Thorpe Park, but I didn't have enough money to go, and I couldn't go. And my parents said, oh, well, you've got your pocket money. And then I'm like, oh, I couldn't go. It taught me, I need to keep some reserves back here. I need to start saving for the spontaneous events. I need to make sure I've got something in my back pocket. Otherwise, I can't go.
Yeah, because you've gone through the hardship of not going.
Exactly, and that's learning the hard way. Actually,
that's it. Yeah,
having that discipline to turn around to your children when, I don't know, like I said, like the friends are going to the cinema or they're going bowling, and saying, "Oh, well, have you saved enough?" And if they've gone and wasted £12 down at the sweet shop buying absolute crap with their money, maybe they'll think twice next time.
Yeah, we don't want sweets. We want to go out with our friends.
Yeah, that's learning the hard way. Not giving her a £5 for cleaning the kitchen, Dean. No, the mud kitchen.
What I mean is she's earning money, and now she gets to decide what she spends the money on. I'm not saying that was a really hard task. I'm saying now she's starting to earn money. I'm not just buying her stuff.
No,
you know,
please stop doing that.
Because I'm a bit of a weak touch. Where that cinema thing you just said, if she didn't quite have enough, I'd be like, yeah, I'll just have a £5. Like, I wouldn't. Not now if we're going to do it, but I think my current attitude is, I'm like, God, I don't want her to miss out on that over a fucking £5. But sometimes it's better off. It's hard. It's really tough, that.
It's getting the balance right.
Because I am a soft touch with that stuff. I'm like, God, it's only a £5. Like, and she's going to sit here. All her friends are going to go. They're all going to talk about it at school. She's going to be like, cry. Like, it's a balance there, isn't it?
I think it is a balance.
That's serious tough. Like that is.
It's a balance, but it is. You know, that is life. As an adult. You know, there's been hen dos that I haven't been able to go on in the past because maybe I haven't had enough money to go on it at that point. That's life. That's life. You can't always afford to go.
It is.
You know? Maybe the girls are going and doing a brunch uptown, or they're going to Clapham, or they're doing something, and I know that a cab back from Clapham is going to cost me 50 quid. and I've got to do the night out. Maybe I want to get my hair done, the drink itself, the dinner, all that. And I think, I don't have the money for that this month. That is life. So you are just teaching them in life, you can't always afford everything.
You can't just get credit cards out for everything like I got used to doing. Got myself in tremendous debt in my early 20s because that was kind of how, I'm not blaming my parents at all for that, but it was like, I didn't really have that structure around money. I didn't have that budget. I weren't sort of brought up quite like that. So when I had credit card debt, it was like, just get more, you know what I mean? It's like...
Well, there was we can't afford this. It was like, we'll find a way.
No, like, it wasn't like everything like that. I wouldn't go up to my parents and go, I just want this and I'd buy it. But like, say for boys' holidays, like when they was 17, 18, when you start going, I barely had a job. So I had a job, but weren't earning enough money, didn't have enough money saved up to spend 1,200 quid on a boys' holiday, whatever it was back then. So it was like, they didn't have the money to just give me that either. So it was like, they pay for it and that was it. Didn't learn that I have to
pay it back
and save up for that.
See, I was always taught if you know that there might be a holiday coming up, save up for it. I'm 37. I've never had a credit card.
But in the same respect, those boys' holidays really changed me in a way. Like I was a real kind of introvert, quite shy. Those boys' holidays brought me out. Definitely, they did. Going around, mate. No, they did.
I've had a lot of stories from these boys' holidays, and I think it wouldn't have done you the worst of harm just to maybe skip a few and learn the hard way so that you would be better with money.
I still think those are great experiences to go away on your own with your friends, learn. I know you're getting pissed up and that, but still, those are life experiences I feel like do help. Yeah. Definitely. They do help become a bit more streetwise and a bit like that kind of stuff if you're doing that sort of stuff.
But I wonder, as our children, because I think when they're generally younger, you tend to do more things for them, if that makes sense. I think. Like, for me, for example, I think it's the teacher in me because being a reception teacher, guys, if you're sending your child to reception with lace-up shoes, stop it. Okay, unless they can do them themselves, it's so annoying. Like, I don't know, because a lot of our kids are allowed to go on the field and stuff at lunchtime, so they can get changed and put their wellies on. Imagine if you've got 30 pairs of trainers and the kids have all got laces and you've got to do that.
And some of them are going, I can do it, and you're like, no, we've got to get this done quick.
But also, I always said to my children, you cannot have shoes with laces until you can do them yourself. And our eldest just took that. She's like, okay, then I'll just choose them then. Because she wasn't bothered about learning the laces. She wasn't that bothered about shoes. Whereas our youngest really wanted those Nike, what they called? Dunks or Pandas?
I took her in JD and let her pick, and I was like...
But I said, you're not wearing these shoes with laces until you learn to do them yourself. And by God, she sat there and she learned, didn't she? She was so resilient. She really wanted to learn. So I said, okay, now you can do laces yourselves. Now you can have shoes with laces. But our eldest didn't learn till she was in year 4. She wasn't bothered.
Yeah, we just done them for her. I don't know.
No, I never let her have shoes with laces. They were always Velcro. I'm not going to let them have shoes with laces until they can do them themselves.
Thanks for that, because the mornings I do with them, she's like, I do it, and I'm like, now we need to get out of the house. So what we do is, I undo them from the previous day, and then we do one each. So she's doing the left, and I'm doing the right.
See, I'd make her do both. I'm not doing your shoes.
I need to get out of the house, Sarah.
I think you're impatient. I think she takes about 30 seconds. It would be an extra minute.
I'm so impatient with stuff like that. I'm like, we're ready. We need to go. Come on, but that's what we do. So I do a compromise. I'm impatient, so we do one each. That is a good compromise, in my opinion.
But I think if you do too much for your children, I can't think of more examples, but like cutting their food up, or doing their laces, if you do too much for your children, then I think actually you're doing that for yourself, like you just said about the laces, but you're reducing their maybe self-esteem, their confidence, their ability. You're holding them back from being taught a skill, which I think they should be able to do.
Yeah, well, I saw a podcast video and they basically said that we are raising mentally weak children because of this fact. We're not.
What do you mean? What fact? You're doing too much for them?
Doing too much for them. Because to raise your mentality, you need to problem solve. So if your kid's not problem solving, that gives you some mental... Problem solving, apparently, gives you more mental toughness. So if they're not ever solving problems, they're not developing that mental toughness. And I definitely see that. Like, if you're... if you've had to solve lots of problems as a kid or an adult, that does give you more mental toughness, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think that's definitely something that I've learned as a teacher, and I do a lot in school, but just you saying that, I could probably bring that more home with me into the home with the children and conflicts or this or that. So there's a phrase I use at school quite a lot, and I say to the children, oh, okay, well, what could you do about that? Especially, you know, with the nature of young children, they might come up to you all the time and, you know, tell so-and-so's not sharing a toy, or so-and-so's done this, or I don't like that, or da-da-da-da-da. And I say to the children, okay, well, what could you do about that? And a lot of young children's first instinct is to tell a grown-up, or to tell their mum, or to tell their teacher, or, you know, to tell a grown-up straight away. But
That's
actually, someone's taken your toy, or somebody said something that you don't like, rather than going and telling the adult straight away, before you've told the adult, yes, all right, maybe you need to tell an adult, but before you've done that, have you told the person that you don't like that? Or have you told the person, please give that back, you've taken it off
Or can
me?
you just take the next step to solve the problem? Like,
that's what I mean.
Even like adults are like it. Even at work, grown adults are like, you know, you have to like walk them through life. It's like, because they haven't learned how to solve a problem themselves. It's like, is that from childhood into adults? Like,
do you think it's a confidence thing though as well?
Could be. It could be a confidence being in that particular task, definitely. But I think, yeah, that's mental toughness, isn't it, as well? Like, if you're a mentally tough person, a lot of it you go, there's a problem here. How do we solve it? Your first instinct is, how do we solve it? It isn't like moan about it, or, you know, it's what's the next step to solve this problem? And I think like that's a tough mentality to have, isn't it? And I think that must stem a little bit from childhood.
Maybe.
Because I'm not. I think I've grown a bit better with that. If I see a problem, it's like, but I wasn't like that as a kid. Definitely not.
Yeah, but I think just in life sometimes you have to learn by actually doing and not being told. Do you know what I mean? Like we were saying earlier about the coat thing, or, you know, not doing your homework thing. You can say something lots and lots of times to a child, like till the cows come home, but actually sometimes they just have to experience it to believe it. Like with the snow with Ruby, she's never going to eat snow again. I don't think she believed me when I was saying, oh, you're going to get a bad belly.
To be honest with you, babe, I didn't. I didn't say nothing to her because I was on your side. I try and always stay on the same side. But in my head, I'm like, so come on, because I just thought you were in a bad mood that afternoon. I was like, look, she's just picking up on everything. But it just played out exactly like that. So even I learned from that. Like when I next take the kids out in the snow, which hopefully isn't that often.
I love the snow.
I don't mind it, but all it ends up happening is you walk in, your hands are fucking freezing. The kids are throwing snowballs at your face. It's like, I quite like making a snowman. I like that bit of it. But there wasn't enough.
Do you want to build a snowman?
I like creating snowmen in the back garden.
Think what I'll take away from this discussion, because I do like having our discussions and having a little bit of reflection with us, but I think that making the children more resilient and, you know, letting them fail is just part of life's experiences. And I think you have to fail in order to build, you know, your personality and build resilience.
Like, what about, just sorry to cut you off there, but what about them being bored? Because that's quite a big one. Like, kids can't be bored now. Like, when they're bored, the parent tries to fix that boredom rather than them. If our kids are bored and there's no screens or whatever, they will go and find a way not to be bored. So that's kind of a problem-solving thing as well, isn't it? Because that's important, even just letting them be bored.
Yeah, absolutely. They definitely have to be bored, but I don't think that's necessarily learning a hard way. That's learning just a skill. Like, and I have seen with the children, and I had someone actually message me this week, and it was absolutely lovely. I was just randomly in Asda's car park, and I opened my Instagram, you know, just in the car before I went into Asda, and this person had messaged me, and she'd said that having listened to some of our podcasts, they started reflecting on their own journey with their kids with Instagram and stuff like that. Having watched it and in YouTube and things like that, and she's taken it away from her children, and what she's seen is them actually play with their toys more, and it took a little bit of an adjustment.
It's a bit of a withdrawal period, isn't it? Yeah.
But now she's like, my kids are actually playing with these toys that I've spent a lot of money on purchasing, and they're playing with them better, and they're playing with them together. And there was a little bit of an adjustment, but if a child is bored, they're going to find something to do. They will. They might bug you a little bit. You might have to give them a little bit of inspiration, or you might have to, I don't know, provide them with some pens and paper or something. But they will find something to do.
Yeah,
In my
I've
experience,
definitely
they
noticed
will.
that. I've definitely noticed that. If you turn all the TVs off and the screens or whatever, and they all go and play with their toys after a little bit of moaning,
And then
but they
them
will.
saying, I'm bored. Okay, fine. Be bored. Find something to do. Problem solve that.
No.
I've got stuff to do as well in the house, you know.
Like when we were kids, we were bored a lot more often, weren't we? I guess because there wasn't as much.
I would imagine so.
There wasn't as much stimulation there is now. Bloody hell, it's everywhere, isn't it? So
Yeah.
I'd be out in the garden just playing 24/7 as a kid.
Yeah.
So,
But I wonder if anyone listening today is going to maybe think about something they do for their child that they're going to stop doing. Because I'm definitely already, the cogs are working in my brain. And I'm thinking, oh, there's some things. Like, for example, our eldest always loves a bowl of cereal. You're 10 years old, you can get yourself a bowl of cereal.
Definitely.
So we keep the cereal on top of the fridge and she can't reach it. So I actually bought earlier in the week, I don't know if you've seen it. Do you see I bought a little stool, like a fold-away stool?
Yeah, I wonder where that comes from.
Yeah, that was me. And I said to Daisy, that is so that you can be more independent in accessing things in the kitchen, because our cupboards are quite high as well, and when she wants a drink of water she can't quite reach the water glasses.
Yeah.
So I bought this stool because I think, God, I'm not like your slave, you know what I mean? Like going and getting you a cereal, getting you a drink of water. You're 10, like get it yourself.
I had servants slapped on my forehead last night. I come home from work and you three were just like, Dean, can you get this? And I sat down. It was, yeah. Yeah. But little things like that make a difference, don't they?
I think so. So that's what I'm going to take from it, is I'm going to try and encourage the children to be more independent in tasks that I think they can do. Yeah, that's what I'm going to take from today. Are you going to take anything? We'll put you on the spot.
Oh, God.
He's looking blankly at me.
Oh, God. Yeah, I feel like even stuff in the morning about the coat stuff, I put Ruby's, she can do all that stuff.
You put her coat on
just
for
out
her.
of speed. Just because it's quicker. Like if I say, Ruby, go and put your coat on, she dillies and dallies, and it's like, I'm like, I just need to get out of there.
You don't get her dressed, do you?
No. I get her clothes, obviously. I get the clothes ready and I put them down on the... Sometimes, like, if she's up in a really slow morning and she's not quite at it, I might say, look, I'll put the top on to get the momentum going and she'll put the rest on. But that's it, yeah. But, you know, I need to be a bit better with, like, no, you can do that now.
Yeah.
Just a bit more patient, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again, as always, for listening to the podcast. Maybe let us know if there's something that you have had as experience with your child where they have had to learn the hard way, and reach out and let us know.
Thank you so much for listening
Thanks.
and watching.